Joe here. Thanks for visiting Road Trip Joe, and thanks for being my patron. I want to introduce you to one of my friends, Bill. I got to know Bill the last few years through golf because we play in the same men's club and the Tuesday group. I've also traveled with Bill over the years with these guys who go on these golf outings. We've been to some really great places. Whistler, Palm Springs, Utah, Monterey, Oregon, you name it, and we've been there. So I've gotten to know Bill pretty well over the last few years, and we've always had a great time together. Bill is fun, and Bill is a really good guy. But Bill is also a very interesting guy. He's the only one I've ever met who actually grew up in San Luis Obispo, California, although he left after school and lived in lots of different places like Europe in his HR job with some really big companies. I think Bill did very well. He's very organized, actually. Bill retired, moved back to the Central Coast, and lives in Avila Beach with his girlfriend Sue and his coyote dog Sadie. Bill grew up with 4 sisters, which explains a lot, actually, and his dad, the Colonel as he calls him, taught ROTC at Cal Poly. Bill, of course, would get into trouble from time to time when he was growing up, just like we all do. Well, actually, he got into a lot of trouble. Not sure what happened, but Bill finished his last 2 years of high school at a military academy thanks to the Colonel. I think the Colonel did the right thing. You see, Bill's wired. Actually, Bill is a live wire. Remember the kid in school that could never sit still? The one that would get up on the desk and dance around? Well, that's Bill. And this was before they started diagnosing all that hyperactivity stuff in kids. Back then, they didn't know what to do with kids like Bill, so they sent him off to boot camp. Now, most of us probably wouldn't want to talk about something that might have happened to us as a kid, like going to a military academy. But not Bill. He wears it like a badge of honor. And while he's a little older now and has maybe slowed down a little, he's still wired. I remember when we first started playing golf with Bill after he moved back to the Central Coast. He joined our golf league and just seemed to fit right in with all us old guys. But we noticed that when we first started playing with him, he would be putting out on the green while some of us haven't even hit our second shot yet. Actually, I think I was the first guy to play with Bill after he moved there. You don't forget those things. There is no stop sign in Bill's life. There's not even a yield sign. It's all straight ahead, but that's just the way he is. But over time, we have managed to slow Bill down a little, and while he still plays pretty fast, I look at that as a good thing. Golf should not take more than 4 hours, people. Now, you would think that someone who is wired that way would take up hobbies like biking or running. You know, something that has perpetual motion in it. But no, Bill plays golf, which involves a lot of standing around and waiting, which I know just drives him nuts. Not something a wired person would take up, I would think. But it's his new hobby that really caught my interest. Bill's new hobby is fishing. Now, I'm not an expert, but I have done a lot of fishing, and the one thing I know about fishing is that you have to have patience. Something that Bill really doesn't possess a lot of, really. The first few times he went out, after he bought all of his gear, he would come back and tell his fishing stories to us, with the end result being no fish caught. 0. None. And it's not just fishing. Bill took up fly fishing. You know, the big long rod, the waders, those little flies you attach to the end, the sport that mostly rich people take up. Well, Bill got hooked on fly fishing, and when I heard he was going to be around the same place I was going, I knew I couldn't miss this video opportunity. I wanted to either be there when he caught his first fish, or I wanted to see why he wasn't catching anything. I mean, there are still plenty of fish in California. I suspected the patience thing was his problem, but this actually might be a good sport for Bill because you just don't throw a line in with a bobber and drink your beer while you watch it float around. I mean, that's the way I fish. No, this one involves that perpetual motion I was talking about, and that's perfect for Bill. And Bill has caught a fish before fly fishing 2 years ago in Montana when he went out with his nephew and a guide. but not on his own yet, and that's why I'm there. So, let's go fishing with my friend Bill, shall we? I made my way up to Quincy in Northeast California where Bill was staying. Quincy is situated in the Sierra Mountains, not too far from Nevada, and there's plenty of streams and rivers there. Bill had been there for a few days with his new trailer he and Sue bought, and I was able to get a spot in this really nice RV park just a few spots over from him. Sue didn't come on this trip, but he did have his coyote dog Sadie with him that I had never met before, but heard lots of stories about. Of course, his dog immediately bit me. No blood, thankfully, but I knew right away who the boss was. And yes, that dog is really half coyote. Sadie is just another name for Satan, yes? I got there a little late the first day to go fishing, so Bill and I went over to the second largest dirt track in California. It was right next to our RV park, and it was loud.
Loading, leads them around turns 1 and 2.
Here with Bill.
Hey.
We are in where? Quincy.
Quincy.
And we walked over here for the, we don't know. We don't have a program.
No, this is the American Speedway in Quincy. And there's some kind of modifieds and some kind of mini cars running tonight. And this thing makes noise till about 11.
And what's
the RV park's right next door, so we can't beat them. We might as well join them.
And what's racetrack's claim to fame?
It's the second largest dirt track in California.
There we go.
Looks like Demolition Derby.
Yeah. Got a car out here by the name of Joe.
Yeah, number 6 there.
Number
second
6.
to the last.
Second to last. Here it comes.
Gotta be all right. Here he comes.
Take a look at it.
World of Drink Flag. Next come around, Galen Headline, then Levis G. He'll be the one to
Right.
get the piece coming in the green.
How do you feel about this race?
I have a funny feeling 6 is down there because he ain't very fast.
Yeah.
That's why he's starting 5th or 6th in this race.
No, we got a bad draw. He's got a good name for a car, though. Joe.
Yeah, he's from Susanville, I saw.
Susanville. Oh, I've been there. All right, that's all I got.
The next morning at 7 a.m., the three of us, me, Bill, and Sadie, all piled into Bill's truck and took off. Now, Bill had been scouting around for a spot before I got there, so he knew right where we were going. I put one of my wireless mics on Bill, and off he went down the trail to the water. Without me, of course. Bill does that from time to time. He just disappears. Not sure he can really help it. But I found him in the water with Sadie and started recording so I wouldn't miss Bill catching that first fish.
I've got a bug on here that's... I got a yellow jacket on here, Joe, but I see flies on the water and no rising fish.
Yeah?
Look out, you're in my casting area. I'm coming back.
You almost got me.
This is my 4th time out. And 2 of the times the water was rushing so fast, they had let water out of a dam, and nobody could fish. So I wasted my time. Well,
How did you get involved with fly fishing?
Well, you know, Joe, my nephew, who's 50 years old now, came into some money with the company he formed, and he got a lodge on the Buckhorn River in Montana. And he called Uncle Bill and said, "Hey, Uncle Bill, let's go fly fishing. I got a guide, and I've got a lodge all set up." Yeah. So I went out there and went on a guided tour on the river for 2 days, caught a ton of trout fly fishing, and the guy showed us some basics, and we didn't have to do a lot because we were in a boat and he was tying all the knots and he had it all figured out for us. But once you try on your own, that got me hooked. So 2 years later I said, you know, I'm going to go do this on my own, and I've been learning slowly. I think to get started, I got a $200 pole. I got $100 in these boots. You know, reels about $70, $80. I have about $700 invested, not counting my broken tooth. And that was $1,300.
How did that happen?
Well, I put a split shot, a little lead BB. I'm going to do that in a minute. I did that with my front teeth. I crimped it, and when I crimped it, my tooth chipped, so I needed a cap, and that was $1,300. So $700 not counting the tooth, and if you count the tooth, I got a $2,000 invested in this, and I haven't caught a stinking fish.
God, look at all the tools you have in here. What is all this stuff?
This is fishing stuff, man.
Oh my God, you got like 50 pounds on you.
No, it's pretty light, and I'm going to pinch that shut with my new $1,300 front tooth. And the doc told me, don't use your teeth as utility.
Yeah, you got some tools on your belt here. It's like, you don't use those?
No.
I'm taking it, right?
Yeah.
All right, Bill is going to catch a fish today. I can see it.
Let me get out a little further here. Here we go. Well, I'm trying. I took a couple of classes from some experienced guys. Now this little fly is a nymph, which is an immature fly that comes up from the bottom to the surface of the water. And the fish eat it on the way up. So yeah, a lot of fly fishermen like to use surface flies, and that's true fly fishing. And this is more like bait fishing to them. But look out, Sadie. Look out. More of the fish. 90% of the trout I've read that 90% of the trout are caught on nymphs, the sinking fly, the wet fly. I've never hooked a dog. You have to be patient here of the cast. If you get too quick coming forward, you get a pile of line in front of you. Come on, fishy, fishy. We got a nice little fly down there. Nice little bug for you to eat for breakfast. Well, I caught a rock.
Got every fool known to man on the body. Just noticed the fishing net on your back.
Yeah, I saw that on the internet. How to carry it and get it out of the way. It's magnetic. Catch a fish.
Cool.
You hook them, you come back, and there it is. Here we go, Joe. Here we go. Come on, fishy. Well, you're working the fly, you're working the creek, you move up and down, try to find the different pockets. But the guys who are serious about this tell me the real excitement is when you catch a native trout on a fly that you tied all by yourself. There's no feeling like it knowing that you fooled the fish with this bug you made and you caught him. But I haven't had that experience, Joe. But I'm waiting for it. It just looks like there should be fish, huh? I mean, if I was a trout, I'd like to live here. Well, I'm learning. See, I'm getting loopy. You need to take it back to about 2 o'clock and no more. See, I'm getting loopy here. Oh, That's what happens when you get loopy. Joe, it hit me. I'm hooked in the back somewhere. I hooked myself in the back. Oh my goodness. Joe, I think I need to go back to casting school. Oh my God. I got a mess going here, Joe. This is, look at this mess I got from a bad cast. Can you see that mess on there? Yeah. What a mess. And that BB, since I have that split shot on there, it makes it easier to tangle and get in a mess when you make a bad cast, which I did. Oh, for me, I'm untangling a lot more than I'm fishing. But other than this right here, I was doing pretty well this morning. Okay, I'm trying to get somewhere here, Joe. Get this thing untangled.
Oh, that thing is tangled.
Oh, what a mess, just from one bad cast.
All right, how are we coming on that line?
Well, I think I'm getting there, but...
Okay, so what is that around your calves down there?
Those are just nylon socks. Okay, Joe, I'm going to give up on this. It's got the best of me.
All right, Bill, how are we doing with the tanglement?
Well, we gave up and just cut it. We cut the line. When you're frustrated, just cut it and start again. The experienced guides, the guys do this all the time. They'd be done by now.
It's all right. You're doing just fine. Oh my God, you have scissors? I don't know what's that round thing on you there?
What round thing? That's leader. And this is how you do a clinch knot.
Oh God! Well, you've done some practicing or something.
Well, this I learned on the internet. So there's my nymph. You see the little BB head on that? Right. That's going to help it sink. And to know that you got a strike, you put an indicator right here afloat. I think I'll try that.
Well, you do have a bobber.
Well, we call it an indicator. Yeah, it's the same damn thing. I think the fly fishermen don't want to admit it's a bobber.
Yeah, well, we want to catch a fish, so whatever it takes today, Bill. All right, here we go. Take two.
We can get it out there.
No looping.
Right there. Right there. Now you see that? If that indicator moves, makes any move that's unnatural, that little bobber, then that's a strike. And they're subtle, they tell me, and that's why you need the indicator, because one of these fishing guides told me that 50% of the strikes where the fish takes the bug, you don't feel it. And he's already spit it before you knew you had him. So you watch this indicator, and if that thing moves at all, you kind of jerk the line. You know, like you got a fish on. You got to carry everything on you so that when you're out in the water, you can change your leader, you could add tippet, you can add a different fly, you can go wet, you can go dry. See, that's why you got to carry all this stuff on your vest. Did I get Sadie? I think I just did. Yeah, I got to start again here. Getting loopy. Uh-oh. Got the bush. I gotta try to catch fish. Oh. Where?
You got the tree.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So Bill better watch what he's doing.
Yeah, you got stuff behind you, man.
Look how high that was, a bad cast. Whoops, I got loose. I've got everything but the hook. It's up there in the tree.
Oh, you lost your hook?
Yeah.
Oh, no. The hook's in the tree. All right.
Shut that off. Shut off that film for a minute.
Hell no. Now what are you going to pull out this thing?
I don't know what it's called, but if I was a trout, I'd eat it.
These things, they get spray.
Yeah.
They got spray.
Yeah. This is neat stuff, Joe. This is all good stuff.
You got more stuff here than you have in your golf bag.
So we had 3 minutes of fishing and 10 minutes of hooking up and untangling. Now we'll do 3 more minutes of fishing and then I'll untangle for 5 or 10 minutes. Oh my goodness. My family jewels just got into this cold water.
I got a good feeling about this. As long as he didn't hook me. Oh. Oh my God, that's getting close to me. I think I need to move back. Whoa. That was close. He's gonna hook the cameraman. Yeah, the other news is I think I just lost my wireless mic. My wireless mic is totally underwater. Oh, it's got another tangle. Looks like another tangle, people. So I have a wireless mic on Bill, and it's in his back pocket right there, and it's totally underwater. Looks like Bill has got another tangle there. Yeah, definitely a tangle. Okay. He's coming back. Watch your step.
Okay, I'm all tangled up again.
I see that.
It's time to go play golf.
Golf? No, we gotta catch a fish, Bill. Bill wants to go play golf. We need to catch a fish, man.
We should have had it.
Let's take a look at that microphone.
I forgot I had it, Joe.
Oh yeah, it's totally wet.
I forgot I had
Oh
it.
my God. Oh, there's my little mic. There it is. It is a little underwater. Oh, so what do you think, Sadie? Huh? Now, how often has Sadie gone fishing with you?
This first time.
Oh. I wonder how she likes it. Whoa.
The good news is that nobody else is catching fish either.
Yeah.
If it was just me, I'd really feel bad. But that's always the case with a fisherman.
And you didn't hook the cameraman or the dog.
Is that a snake coming at us? Look at it, he's got his head
Oh my God, that is a snake.
Look at that thing. Is that a snake or is that a stick?
It wasn't a good fishing morning for Bill, although from what I could tell, he didn't do anything wrong. He was actually pretty good if you don't count the snags and tangles. That is a big rod. In Bill's defense, nobody around there was catching any fish. We did meet a couple of guys at the RV park the day before and saw them at the racetrack and fishing down the stream from us the next day. Rush lives in Dallas and worked for TGI Fridays for years. He actually worked at one in Houston on Richmond Avenue where I live, so it's possible he made me a drink or two. His buddy Don actually owned a bunch of TGI Fridays, it seems, and when he sold out, he traveled around the world with his family on a sailboat for 7 years. Don, of course, thanked me for my patronage. He lives in Reno now, of all places, and he owns this really fabulous motorhome. Life is good sometimes, at least if you want it to be. Rush, who appears to be a seasoned fly fisherman. Fly fisherman? Is that right? Fly fisherman? Well, Rush didn't catch anything either, so I'm going to give Bill a pass on this one. When Bill had had enough of fishing, it was time to go. Not wanting to stand still, he decided we need to go play golf in 98-degree heat. After our round, we went by the store, picked up some steaks, and went back to the RV park. The one thing I didn't know about Bill is that he can cook. Thanks for dinner, Bill. It was great. I mean that. And please don't give up on fly fishing. You have too much invested in it now. Just, take a look behind you from time to time to see what's back there before you throw that line out. Makes fishing a whole lot easier. And thanks for letting me join you. That was fun. You'll catch a fish someday. I promise. That's all I got.
To do. So I ran outside, got the sun in my eyes, met up with Uncle Chuck, stole an ice cream truck, drove in a pothole, ended up in the hospital. Through grace with the patients, got rubbed antidepressants, took my dog for a walk, met her on the boardwalk, things got perverse, she took off her shirt, I had got nothing done 'cause
Hey, good morning, Joe. It's Bill here. Hey, when we parted company up there in Quincy, I forgot to share with you the famous fly fisherman's goodbye. It goes something like this. Hey, had a lot of fun. Hope to do it again someday. And in the meantime, tight lines, baby, tight lines.